Howdy, folks. I'm the Old Ranger with an exciting new story of real life in the Old West. For those of you who like murder mysteries, here's a real killer that baffled the waterfront police of San Francisco for many months. It's still referred to as the case of Captain Pegleg. Sansom Street, San Francisco, 1888. The tides no longer wash against it as they did in the gold rush days. But to the men who sail the seven seas, it's still the waterfront. Sooner or later, every deep-sea sailor finds his way here.
Hello, Ruth.
Wasn't a big quirt.
You thought you left me to the sharks, didn't you, Ruth? You and your mates. But I fooled you. I come through. All except for this.
'Twas every man Jack for himself, Quirt.
Oh, sure, Ruth. And the devil take the hindmost. I still got the scar on my skull where you hit me with the oar when I tried to climb aboard.
There was only room on the raft for 6, you know that.
Glad to see you've been promoted to first mate, Logan. The big Minerva, ain't it?
How would you be knowing that?
I've been keeping track of all of you. Ain't much else to do. A swab with a Pegleg. Bust ashore.
Look, Quirt, I got a man waiting on the wharf.
Oh, sure, Roof. I understand. I just wanted to say ahoy. For old time's sake. Why, thank you, Roof. Thank you.
Maybe when I'm in port again, we'll...
Maybe.
I don't know. I heard a shot, and there he is. I heard a shot.
I heard a shot, too. I came running.
Dead?
Shot in the back.
Nobody leaves. A shooting. Frisk everybody.
I was crossing the street. I heard a shot, but I couldn't tell you where it came from.
Just stopped and talked to me. Gave me 8 bits. I started playing again. Homeward Bound, of all tunes. Then I heard a shot and he pitched forward.
Nothing on these. You find anything? All right, move on. Move on. All right, move on. You stay here. I'll go notify headquarters. Have him move to the morgue.
Four dead. 2 more.
What's the matter down here, Sergeant? This is the 4th killing of that kind in the past 6 months.
The waterfront's tough.
Sure it is. But your beat's turning into a regular shooting gallery.
Well, what can I do, Lieutenant? It don't make sense. There's never any fight. Nobody's ever robbed. Suddenly, right in broad daylight, the sailor gets shot in the back. Don't make sense.
Murder with no motive. Sounds like a good story.
There's got to be a motive. A man just doesn't fire a .38 in someone's back for nothing.
They were all killed by a .38?
Yes, whatever help that is.
They were all sailors.
Well, in this part of town, anywhere you point a gun, you hit a sailor.
Well, what can you give the paper?
Nothing, just what you find in the blotter.
Rufus Logan. Identified as first mate of the brig Minerva. Shot and killed by unknown assailant on corner of Sampson and California Street. Rufus Logan. Wait a minute. Wasn't he one of the men who survived the wreck of the whaler Undine a couple of years ago?
Could be.
I'm sure of it. Made their way back to port from the middle of the South Pacific on a small raft. A fantastic story.
Yes, it does seem to sort of ring a bell.
This reads a real piece in the paper. Thank you, Lieutenant. You made my day worthwhile.
Raft survivor meets death by bullet. Rufus Logan, first mate of the brig Minerva.
You remember me telling you about him?
He was one of the 6.
Yes. If it hadn't been for him, we'd probably none of us have come through. He sure had what it took.
So did you. How strange to be killed on a city street after surviving that terrible experience at sea. Services at Seaman's Church Institute.
When?
Well, this afternoon at 4 o'clock.
I'll knock off early and go then.
You must have thought a great deal of him.
No, as a matter of fact, I'm sure I hated him. He was brutal and inhuman. But he did help save my life. Least I can do is pay my last respects.
John Starkweather.
Charlie Tetlow.
I was hoping you'd show up, John, so I could talk to you.
I just happened to read about it in the papers.
Oh, it's a terrible thing, John, this shooting.
Yes. Charlie, I don't recall you having had any special love for Logan.
I hated his guts. But do you realize that he's the 4th one of us to be murdered in the streets of Frisco?
Us?
The 6 that survived the Undine.
No, I didn't realize that.
You and me are the only ones left, John. I'll tell you, there's something behind this.
No, Rufus just had an awful lot of enemies.
Well, what about Carl Johansson? A kinder man never lived. And Billy Drummond, why, he was everybody's friend. And the same with Marty. And now they're all dead, John. They're all shot in the back.
Charlie, let's go inside. I believe the service is starting.
All right.
O eternal God, who alone spreadest out the heavens and rulest the raging of the sea, we commend unto thee the soul of our brother departed, whose stormy passage of life is over and has now come safely into port.
I still think we ought to go to the police.
And tell them what?
That somebody's gunning for us.
Now listen.
John, you and me are next on the list. Now, I know it.
I think you need a good drink, Charlie. Come on, I'll buy you one.
Have another. On me.
No, thank you, Charlie. I've got to be going home.
Oh, please, not yet, John. Oh, I don't feel like being alone.
It's about my dinner time. Guess my wife will be waiting for me.
Oh, you married?
Yes, I've been married for about 6 months. As a matter of fact, there's a little one on the way now.
Well, you gotta have another drink. Come on, John.
Some other time. When are you sailing?
Our ship's in dry dock now. I hope it gets out soon. This city's getting on my nerves.
Look me up before you do leave, will you, Charlie? I'm just around here on Montgomery Street.
John Starkweather, commission merchant. Well,
I'll be seeing you.
I hope so. I still think we ought to go to the police.
Sorry I'm late, honey. I stopped off and had a drink after the service with an old friend, Charlie Tetlow.
Oh, ship's carpenter on the Undine.
How did you know that?
Well, darling, I read those clippings so many times I know all the names by heart. There's Carl Johansson, bosun's mate, William Drummond, helmsman, Martin Strom, ship's cooper. Were they all there today, too?
No, dear.
Out to sea? John, is there something wrong?
No, why?
Well, you seem so upset.
Honey, a funeral isn't the most cheerful occasion.
Oh, here, let me do that. You're all thumbs.
Lydia.
What is it?
Honey, nothing is ever going to come between us.
You say Logan was a shipmate?
Yes, aboard the Undine, like all the others. Now they're all dead. All 4 of them, shot in the back.
Have you any suspicions?
Yes, that I'm going to be next.
No, I mean, can you think of anyone who'd have a
Look,
reason?
you're the police. It's your job to protect people, isn't it?
We're just as anxious to clear this up as you.
Well, then do something. Do something. Don't just sit there and let him pick us off.
Look, my friend...
1, 2, 3, 4. And soon it'll be 5. And that'll be me, Charlie Tetlow.
Make a note of the name, Sergeant.
It's Tetlow, Tetlow. I'm a ship's carpenter on a schooner Mary Bell. M.A. Well, you know how that goes. We sail tomorrow. I just got me orders.
Well, I suppose it makes you happy.
Oh, I just wish it was today.
Yes, you look like a little change might do you good.
I suppose I'm a darn fool, John, worrying so.
Well, you know what they say. All sailors are superstitious.
Not you.
Well, that's because I'm a landlubber now.
Don't you ever miss the sea?
No. See, everything I care about in the world is right here. Well, goodbye, Charlie.
Oh, goodbye, John.
Good luck.
Well, thank you. Same to you. Right. I'll have one more for a chaser. Right.
Had to be someone Tetlow recognized. He was running for dear life when he was shot.
According to the coroner's report, the bullet only winged him. He died of heart failure.
Poor guy. I wish he could have given us a clue.
Well, he lived long enough to mumble a name, Undine.
The ship that went down.
So?
So I went down to the files of the Maritime Exchange and dug this out. It's a list of the crew that sailed on her last voyage. And these are the 6 who survived the wreck.
Johansson, Drummond, Martin, Logan, Tetlow.
The names all tally.
John Starkweather.
Commission merchant, 315 Montgomery Street.
We're too late to reach him at his office.
He lives on Rincon Hill.
And let's get going. Sergeant, take over the desk.
Yes, sir.
Charlie Tetlow? Well, yes, I know him.
When did you last see him?
This afternoon. He dropped in my office to say goodbye. His ship is sailing tomorrow.
He won't be on it. Charlie Tetlow was shot and killed on Sansom Street only a few hours ago. Had Tetlow ever expressed any fears to you, Mr. Starkweather, that his life was in danger?
Yes, he had.
When?
At Rufus Logan's funeral about a month ago.
What'd he say?
He said he was afraid that we might be next. You see, Logan wasn't the first of our shipmates to meet a bad end.
The 4th, to be exact.
That's right.
Why didn't you come to the police, Mr. Starkweather?
Well, I didn't see any reason to.
4 of your former shipmates had been killed under identical circumstances, and you saw no reason to come to the police.
What could I tell you that you didn't already know?
Aren't you worried for your own safety?
Not particularly.
That's surprising.
Look, I just put it down as a jinx.
Are you still of that opinion, since Tetlow's death?
Well, now I don't know what to think. Look, gentlemen, if you'd like to discuss this further, I'll be very happy to come down to headquarters. You can call me at my office.
All right, Mr. Starkweather. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, ma'am.
Bye. John.
Now, Lydia, I don't want you to worry about this.
But you never told me about the others.
Well, honey, a man has to have some secrets from his wife.
John, I'm so frightened.
Now, don't be. Nothing is going to happen to me.
Well, how can you tell?
I have too much to live for.
Well, if he's not worried, he ought to be.
Maybe we should put a bodyguard on him.
We don't know that there's any immediate danger. It could be months or a year before anything happens.
Any objection to my doing some sleuthing on my own?
What did you have in mind?
Finding the man who's toting that 38.
You go right ahead.
It's like pea soup out.
Mr. Brophy,
Mr. Starkweather?
have a seat, please. Yes.
This message was just delivered by a boy.
A notice to come to the appraiser's building this afternoon in regard to some dutiable goods. What goods are they talking about?
I have no idea.
We're not expecting any consignment, not that I know of.
You want me to check on it?
No, that's all right. I'll drop in myself after lunch. Thank you.
I talked to the owners of the former owners, that is, of the Undine. Thought they might be able to shed some light on this business.
Oh, and could they?
Weren't even aware of it. Their interest in the Undine ended when she went to the bottom with a full cargo.
And all hands. Save 6.
I wonder.
What?
Has it ever occurred to you, Starkweather, that some of the others may have survived?
Well, even if they had, I'm sure the company would have learned about it.
I have a list of the ship's roster.
This is like reading the headstones in a graveyard. Captain Prestwick. He went down with the ship. First mate, the same thing. Judson, Gavin, they were trapped below decks. Barnaby Court. I still wake up nights thinking about him. He managed to clear the wreck, but he tried to climb aboard our life raft. It was overcrowded. He nearly capsized it. It was Logan that hit him on the head with an oar. Then he went down. That was the last we saw of him. Compton, Jessup, their bodies were recovered later. No. They're all dead.
Then who is stalking the streets?
I don't know. But whoever he is, he's sure smart.
Smarter than the police.
Maybe he'll lay off for a while now.
Or else strike quickly. Can I take you to lunch?
Oh, no, thank you. I'm just going to grab a quick bite. I have to stop in at the appraiser's building.
Well, did you find any clues? Now maybe you won't think the police are so dumb.
Wasted a whole morning when I should have been writing my column.
Why don't you do something on the weather?
Well, I better think of something or I'm going to get fired. How about the weather?
Ah, get out of here, will you?
Hi.
Hi.
I was just going by, and I thought to myself, I'll bet there's some interesting stories about tattooing.
Oh, I could tell you plenty of stories, mister.
You've been at it a long time?
Well, ever since I've been old enough to use a needle. You know the tattooed lady in the circus?
Oh, sure.
That's my work.
Really?
You pick any design that suits your fancy, mister, and I'll execute it for you.
Oh, well, I didn't have that in mind. You see, I'm a newspaper reporter.
Oh, well, maybe the name of your newspaper tattooed across your arm in this
No,
style.
I don't think so. I might change jobs.
Well, men change girls, so what?
The next one doesn't mind?
Well, if you got any problem, mister, come to me. I'll fix it for you. I'm an expert at retouch work. Guy in here had that name Undine changed to Nadine. When I got through, you wouldn't have known.
Undine?
Yeah, beautiful job.
Well, what was he like?
Oh, had a peg leg, an old sailor.
What was his name?
What was a funny name? It was Quirt.
Barnaby Quirt.
Wait a course, mister. Appraiser's building.
Look out! You all right? You recognize him?
Barnaby Quirt.
He had a .38 revolver concealed in this wooden leg. And this wire that ran up to his pocket pulled the trigger. 5 bullets found their mark. The 6th just missed.
And that winds up the case of Captain Pegleg.
In Reno, Nevada, at Harold's Club, there's a famous exhibit of guns. From it, we borrowed this one. Yes, here it is. The actual murder weapon you've just heard about. Unique in the history of the West.